Capricorn, hi, come on in. It's great to see you. Just in time for your Capricorn March 2020 reading. And welcome back to my subscribers. Well, you're in the best club on the net, aren't we? We have the best club, and we have the best fun here on the internet. So it's great to see you. And I know that some of you have, I mentioned last month that I'm now taking private readings from all over the world. I do 1 hour face-to-face, real-time, over FaceTime, Skype, clairvoyant readings, and I know that, thank you for those of you who have taken them already and booked, and thank you for telling your friends, because I know that a few of your friends have also contacted me on your recommendations, so I do appreciate that, thank you. And if you do want to have a private reading, just check out the description box below, and it's just shoot me an email and we can go from there. Now, let us today do tarot. And I'm going to do 3 playing cards as well at the end. Now, you might tell me in the comments below whether you reckon that the playing cards at the end are useful to you or not. I do change things around from time to time. I think it was it last month or the month before, I also included within the tarot readings descriptions of the Viking runes, as well as the Chinese I Ching, and I'm not sure that people made any particular comment about those. If you do like the I Ching or runes, then I can maybe use a deck that's got all those in them next time, or not. Tarot cards for now though. 6 of coins, Ace of swords. I'm going to use my pen probably to, the Hermit, my pen to point out some of the imagery in it, because it's absolutely fascinating. The 4 of Cups, and I use the imagery to download, if you like, the messages from the other realm, which are pertinent to you. So it's also a good way for, look, you're just going to love the stuff here, I'll tell you that. And there's the 2 of Swords, the 4 of Cups and the 2 of Swords. Now, as I said, and I am a man of my word, I'm going to take 3 playing cards because they'll give us just a touch at the end. Now, when I use the playing cards in my personal one-on-one readings with you, the playing cards actually act like a surgeon's knife and give you a very precise message. Well, they tell you what is going to happen in your future. Now here, of course, this is general reading, but they're still going to provide a lot of energy. They still provide a lot of energy, and they will still tell you what generally, and probably quite specifically, depending on how the cards are placed with one another, is going to happen. So don't be surprised if you go, wow, how did that occur? I don't know how it happens, it just does. You know, 5 of Hearts, when I was a kid, I thought everybody was psychic, and it wasn't until I was a teenager that I worked out that everybody wasn't. 2 of Diamonds, and so how does it work? I don't know. Some people are good at art, some people are good at music. I'm good at neither of those, but I can do this. And there's the Jack of Spades. Okay, why don't you come down and sit next to me? Let's have a fantastic close look at this reading, and let's see what is in store for you. Okay, Capricorn, let's have a look at these. Well, I'm going to do this one first because this has got Capricorn written all over it for me. I think the other people who could be important for you during this time are Pisces and Aquarius, or another Capricorn. But this is very much something, I think, which is definitely applying to you. Let's have a look at some of the imagery on it, shall we? I rather like the artistry on these cards. Now here we have a great sword which stands impressively against the sky. It is crowned at its tip with a golden fillet set with the suit symbols of spades. Now this is swords. If we were to look in playing cards, for example, we might expect to see swords corresponding with the suit of swords, but you know, I'm not totally sold on that idea myself as someone who's practiced for 40 years in this area.
But there are two wings that are beside the tip of the blade. Now the palms, which come down here, the palms really are about the palms of secret martyrdom droop from the crown, and red and blue flames shower from the palms. A snake, where is he? Here he is. A snake with crowned with horns and has a forked tongue is wrapped around the blade of the sword. At the hilt down here is the yin and yang symbol. And below is the statue of, what would I say this is? Victory, I suppose, upside down, encircled with a laurel wreath. Now the biblical figures of, this would be Abel, I suppose, and on the right, and Cain on the left, kneel, holding the produce of the earth, and both gazing downwards. Quite an interesting ace of swords, I think you would agree. Let me pull out a bit now so that we can get some idea as to what is going on. What this is really saying is that there is a period of great insight and clarity coming up for you. It signifies an eureka moment, and an achievement of your goals will become much easier. You have a new perspective on life that was previously unclear, so that you are able to get to the heart of the matter. You'll be able to get to the heart of the problem which has been troubling you or which has been causing you distress. You will have gained a new vision and will pursue opportunities which draw upon your creative and mental abilities. You know, this sword also, I think, encourages you to stand up for the rights of others. And I understand that's a very broad category, but it also encourages you to stand up for yourself and to look after yourself and to pursue your real personal values and beliefs. You've gained a new insight and inspiration. You've come out of the clouds of confusion and doubt into clarity, and it's all blue skies ahead. There's a further message which is coming through, and it is this, that there is nothing you cannot be, there is nothing you cannot do, there is nothing you cannot have. You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. For who could reject such wondrous magnificence? But you do not know who you are, and you think you are a great deal less. You are your own rule maker, and you are the only one who can assess how you are doing. All you see in the world is your idea about it. Life will take off for you when you choose for it to. An idea becomes a thought. A thought becomes a word. Say it out loud. Words have power and reverberate all throughout eternity. And then a word becomes an action. And if you are going to do it, start. And when you start, go all the way. Do it. Do it. Seize this moment. Rejoice in it. And let no power on earth take it from you. What else might we have a look at? I think, well, why don't we go with the Two of Swords? Here he is. Couple of Knights. Well, this is interesting. Here we do have a couple of knights. Each one could quite easily destroy the other, and yet here they are embracing and shaking hands in friendship. Now this paler knight here with the snake on its head, that represents the yin principle, or the female. And this darker knight here with a fox on its helmet and on the hilt of its sword, it represents the yang, or masculine principle. Now, what we can say about it? Well, the astrology for me is that of the moon ruling the first decan of Libra. This is really the Lord of peace restored for me. The moon in Libra is a very happy combination. Your moon sign actually describes your instinctive or emotional energies, did you know? With the moon in Libra, you are likely to have a deep need for peace and harmony in your life. Libra, as you know, is sort of symbolized by the scales, and that can relate to any area of your life requiring balance, and this would include things like your personal environment, work, relationships with others. But the purpose of this card really, I think, is that of neutrality, being neither good nor bad, so that of balance is required. But sometimes in the suit of air, in swords, there can be some instability which comes about. But I think that this is going to be a time of very good peace and balance for you. Now, you might also have a hard time making up your mind about something and can't make a choice. Now, it's not something which is acute, but it's something I think which is sitting in the background and surfaces every now and again. You might be dealing with the pros and cons of a situation. You could be, in a sense, almost feeling as if you are, stagnant about something. If that's the case, I think it's because you lack the information that you need to make the right decision at this time. But when you get it, it's like the light bulb goes on, and you can see the situation for what it is, and you will be in a much better position to make a decision that is right for you. Decisions. Interestingly, there is an angel's energy surrounding this card here, and the angel's name is one of the 72 names of God called Ha-Ha-Hel, and it substitutes for the name of the word Lord in the Old Testament book of Psalms. I'm sure it's chapter 120, verse 2, which says, "O Lord, save me from treacherous lips, from a deceitful tongue." Now, meditating on that verse, chapter 120, verse 2 of Psalms, it will heal all areas of your life, including health problems. It will lift financial difficulties and dispel relationship problems. Let's have a look at the Hermit, shall we? Here we have the Hermit, as is tradition, holding a lamp. He has the clothing, I think, of of the monks of Mount Athos in Greece. Mount Athos actually houses about 20 or 30 monasteries, but they've been a bit faded by the sun. He also has a hat that's there. His face is lined with experience, and of course he has the beard of an old guy. Underneath his cloak, it looks like there is a straw undergarment. In the hill in the background here, this looks like Mount Athos, and that is a monastery that's there. Now here we have a whale and ships in this sea below us, and if I'm not mistaken, this probably refers to the biblical story of Jonah, who was saved from drowning by a whale that swallowed him and then regurgitated him. And again, if I remember my biblical history, I think that Jonah then went on to save the city of Nineveh from destruction of the wrath of God. Well, of course, God doesn't go around destroying cities because God loves life. Now, what does the Hermit mean for you in this situation? Well, it's very much Mercury ruling Virgo with Mercury exalted. So this is very much a great planetary combination, because in ordinary astrology, Mercury is exalted also in Virgo. And I think that during this time, you may be seen as being a mentor to somebody. They might be coming to you and asking you for training or support or showing people how to do things. It's as if there's going to be some sort of an illumination from within, Well, this might just be this moment of clarity that's coming along that was spoken here, where you do have this breakthrough moment and things start to make sense for you. There will be almost like a divine inspiration, wisdom, retirement, other sorts of things that I see coming through here for you. I think it's possible that you'll be getting away from a situation in order to get a better insight into it. Becoming aware of something of which you were previously in the dark is something I see. And I think there will be the necessity for you to have some alone time. Not throughout the whole of the month, but just in part of it, for some soul searching and recalibrating yourself to get yourself back on the right path. There is a need, I think, for you to get in touch with your untapped wisdom. I'd have this thought in mind, and it is, I enjoy the feeling of completion and resolution. I will not compromise that which is important to me. I enjoy my aloneness because I can stop being alone whenever I wish. I think you'll want a significant relationship or none at all, and I think there is a need for you to complete things from the past before moving on into the future. I think you'll be very good at organizational abilities here, and this may be because of the Virgo influence that I see in the card. And I think you'll be very good at practical matters, manual trades, artistic attitudes, decoration, fashion, beauty, those things. They're the type of things that really much are coming to the fore. Let's deal with the Four of Cups. Let's see what it has to say for us. And what is some of the imagery that's in this Four of Cups? Well, let me see. Should make sure that I've got my glasses on so I can see what there is here. Here is a spider. What is that that's there? Oh, I see what it is. You've probably got a better look at it than I do. Here we go. This is a woman who's standing on a chair. And here is a snake, here is a spider, and there is a mouse. And so she's standing up on the chair, hoisting her skirts up because she's afraid of those things. Now, interestingly, the snake, the spider, and the mouse, esoterically, they relate to our hidden or subconscious and often repressed emotions and desires. This is the figure of Eros, blindfolded. Eros was the god of erotic love. Down here we have what I assume is Silenus, who was the perpetually drunk son of Pan. And this looks like some guy on his last gasps in a desert, crawling towards a mirage. We have a mermaid here, weeping, sitting on top of a serpent that has the color really of a mature cicada. And here is a youth or a kid holding a golden band, sitting on a green serpent, and that is the sign of the color of youth, really of the cicada that is in the young stage. Now let me draw this out so we can see it in connection with these other cards. This is the Lord of blended pleasure. Again, the moon, this time in the third decan of Cancer, the 12th to the 22nd of July. Now, in ordinary astrology, the moon rules Cancer, which in some respects I have to say is probably the only really good kick that this card has. Because the underlying message I think that's coming here is that you want to be emotionally fulfilled in a deep way, but you're probably going about it the wrong way. The moon, as I say, the moon in Cancer, well, the moon is associated with the principle of flux and change, and your emotional states may be shifting like the phases of the moon. Now, people who are, this doesn't apply to you, but just just by the by, people who are born in that third decan of Cancer they tend to be very sensitive and emotional. And when they are not emotionally fulfilled, they can sometimes end up hoarding things, funnily enough. I think what this is saying is to be careful for not settling for what you have. Don't slip into any form of inertia. It is about you appreciating what you do have and building upon that. And it is accepting what you have and make sure that you then grow from there, build upon what you do have. Boredom and dissatisfaction can sometimes creep in when this card appears in this position down here and with this astrology that I've just mentioned, the moon in Cancer. So it might be that you have become too familiar or sick of your environment. When that happens, of course, you can sometimes fall into the trap of lacking motivation. So you need to make sure that you push yourself along and set new goals. And what I think here is there's sometimes the chance of us seeking to get temporary pleasure as an escape from feeling discontented with what we do have. And this can sometimes result in overindulging in the drink, primarily in drinking and sometimes in drugs as well. But it is reminding you to realize what you do have and to appreciate it also, because others are certainly worse off from you. If there's someone special in your life, I would say to this that this is also a time for you to affirm that I enjoy being together with the person, full of thankfulness and joy. But have a look at this. Have a look at this. This is the Six of Coins. Well, here we have rather a stout gatekeeper or something, I suppose, holding a lance. This is the Lord of Material Success, by the way. The Lord of Material Success, right? And in these coins here, let's have a look and see what there is. Oh, here is a miser that is using all of his time to luxuriate over his riches. This is the Chariot of Saturn. Here is a fool who has lost all his money and looking quite despondent. Here is a fool that's got some money. Here is a flower in the shape of a mandala. A mandala is a symmetrical device, symbol, or painting used in Tibetan Buddhism to aid in meditation. And here is a rich man using scales, as you would do back then, to weigh the value of gold or silver to find out their value, doling out money to a man who is poor. Now, as I say, this is about success. And what we can say about this success is that, well, I suppose I should first talk about what the astrology of the card is. Now, the astrology is the moon. Again, you've got lots of moon in you, so there's lots going on in your subconscious, I think, this month. This is the moon, this time, in the second decan of Taurus, the 1st to the 10th of May. Now, actually, the moon is exalted in Taurus, which is a great sign. But of course, as you know, the moon is transient. It comes, it waxes, it becomes full, it wanes, it disappears, it comes, it goes, it's not stable. And this is the Lord of Success, I say, so it means that successes can be short-lived. Now, there's nothing to be concerned about that, because if you imagine it, I mean, a success is not a continuum. You don't have a continual success, but you have a success here, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. Successes are momentary things where you have achieved something. Now, the moon in Taurus, well, the moon likes nurturing and comfort. And Taurus likes material things, so they are well suited for bringing about material success. I really am for you getting success. Generosity both ways, receiving and giving. And when you receive, also pay it forward. Build up your karmic account. I think you'll be receiving something of a financial boost. If those of you applying for a scholarship for education, I think that there's very likely that that scholarship is going to be approved. And for those of you who have dealings with the welfare system, I think those dealings are going to prove to be positive. I think also is the case that this is really talking about the seeds now coming in for material, which is your, not just money. It's to do with your standard of living, how you enjoy life. What are the things that all go to make up your enjoyment of life? So there's success in that very broad category of areas. There may well be the opportunity to be involved in a profitable adventure, but it is also a reminder for you to remember the success in your life and build on those. There will definitely be a desire for success, an ambition for success. And the advice from the Spirit is to be willing to risk, be committed, trust your intuition, and just be careful of any careless spending during this period as well. Now let's have a look at some of these. Have we done all the cards? I think we have, haven't we? Let's have a look at these, shall we? What's that? The Five of Hearts. Now, fives can very much represent propositions being made to you or offers being made to you. There's also something about separation coming up here. There could be changes in love, in family, or around the home. There is a chance that you'll hear of a separation, a breakup, or a divorce. Or it could mean changes to a home, renovations, or moving. It can also sometimes relate to a family member who is leaving home, like someone who's going to college or or is moving out to be with a lover, a spouse, or with friends. It's also a time to just be aware of, and I don't make any moral judgment, of indiscretions in romantic affairs. And it is also the case that there could well be jealousy around you. And it's also saying that this is a time when you need to make some decisions. I think it's a time to make some decisions about things. But the decisions that you make are going to be good, because this red and the hearts are good. Then we have here the two. Now, twos generally are about interactions, cooperations, partnerships, doing things together. It's also very much an energy that comes up around here is about the investor, the card of investing. And so I think there is good news relating to finances here. Good luck in relation to finances, investments, and there's a possibility when this card shows up of receiving a windfall. Now, that may be small, it could be big. Now, for love, it can mean a fulfilling love affair, but one which may have the disapproval of others. It can also mean a beneficial relationship with money binding the parties together. Then we have the Jack of Hearts. Yeah, I kind of like this card. I've got a soft spot for it. When I do a psychic reading for you, it can mean different things in different circumstances. But in general, it usually relates to a young male, but it could also be a female, a friend, or a family member, a loved one, or a love interest. Because jacks are so low down in the court hierarchy, they kind of represent things that are fresh or new, right? Fresh or new. or something that is young. It can mean an invitation that you are going to receive, or a gift that you might get. It can also relate to messages that you are going to receive, which are very pleasant. Messages which actually warm your heart and which make you feel good. Now, it can relate to the start of a new relationship. Right? It can, because jacks are young and new, so it can mean a new relationship. Now, if the Queen of Hearts was present, as it's not, I would maybe think about this as being a couple. Now, this otherwise would represent you or someone you love or someone that you are actually going to meet, with whom a relationship, which may be platonic, may be undertaken. Now, what this card also does mean is it can relate to a young admirer of yours. So you might become a cougar and start a new relationship with a young admirer. Who knows? Well, that's just some of the meanings that go to those cards. But it depends on what's around them, of course. That is the way it is for you this month.
Well, there you go. March, underway. Well, let me just say this, is that you were fantastic during that reading, and I really enjoyed providing it to you. I love providing these readings to you each month, and subscribe and become part of the family and belong. And let me just say this, and I want you to remember this always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Until then, bye for now.